Welcome to the AI Checkpoints. We're your guide through, well, the really fast-moving world of artificial intelligence. Today, we're diving deep into something absolutely critical, but maybe not always fully understood, how we evaluate AI models and agents. I mean, AI is everywhere now, right? Pushing boundaries like crazy. But with all that power, especially as these systems get more autonomous, how do we actually know they're, working properly, doing what they should? And crucially, are they safe? So, our mission today is to pull out the key insights from some real experts in this space. We've got perspectives from folks at Microsoft, Arize AI, Braintrust, Adobe, the whole lot. We want to unpack why evaluating AI isn't just like a technical step. It's really the foundation for building AI we can trust and AI that actually works well. We're aiming to give you a shortcut, basically, to understanding this vital process. Get ready for some maybe surprising takes.
It's absolutely true. AI evaluation is becoming such a hot topic, and for good reason, especially with how fast AI agents are developing and how much independence they're getting. They're not just tools anymore, they can actually do things. And, Cedric Vidal over at Microsoft put it quite bluntly. He warned that if you give AI more agency without really solid evaluation, well, you're increasing the risk of, and I quote, creating havoc.
Huh.
So yeah, it's way beyond just building something cool. We have to be sure it behaves, especially out in the real world.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Why is evaluating AI so different, so crucial? It's not like testing normal software, is it? Where you expect the same input to give the same output every time. The big challenge, especially with LLMs, these large language models, is they're non-deterministic. You ask the same question twice, you might get two different answers. Both could be perfectly fine, but how do you test that? That classic pass-fail thing just doesn't really apply neatly. Exactly. And that's where Datningo from Arize AI had a great way of putting it. He said, evaluation is basically a clever word for signal. You're trying to get signals, right? What's working well, what isn't, where are the red flags? And if you think about the business side, Muktesh Mishra from Adobe really hammered this home. Without measuring, how can you possibly align your AI with business goals? How do you improve it over time? And how do you build that trust with customers? Accountability. You just can't improve what you don't measure. Simple as that.
Right, and that connects directly to the business value. I liked Doug Guthrie from Braintrust's perspective on this. He said evals aren't just defense, catching mistakes. They're offense, proactive. You use them to spot regressions early, keep quality high, and that means real benefits. Cutting development time, saving money through automation, iterating faster, getting releases out quicker. It lets teams optimize their models better, scale things up more confidently. It's about moving past a gut feeling, a vibe check on your AI. You need actual solid data to know if the changes you're making are actually making things better, or maybe worse.
Which brings up a really important point, timing. When should you start evaluating? And Cedric Vidal from Microsoft had some perhaps sobering news for some folks. He basically said, if you've built your whole app and now you're asking about evaluation, you're a bit late.
Yeah.
He stressed it has to start at the very beginning. The
Good.
sooner, the better.
Yeah.
It's not something you tack on at the end. It needs to be woven in from day one. Like, think building safety features into a car design, not trying to add airbags after it's built.
That's a big shift, thinking of it foundationally. And Cedric Vidal also talked about this idea of layered evaluation, which I found really interesting. He broke it down into 4 layers you need to consider. First, there's the base model and its built-in safety stuff, often platform level, like Azure's protections. Then you add system messages to guide the AI. Then there's grounding, making sure it sticks to the facts or the context you give it. And finally, the user experience layer, how it actually performs when people interact with it. The key takeaway, he said, is that real safety comes from layering smart mitigations at the application layer. So it's really on you, the builder, to design those layers well.
And those layers mean it's not just a one-time check. It absolutely has to be continuous. Muktesh Mishra from Adobe really emphasized this cycle. Measure, monitor, analyze, and repeat. It's a constant loop. You're always gathering data, seeing what's happening, adjusting your evals, maybe tweaking the AI itself. It's like an ongoing conversation with your system to keep it on track and improving throughout its whole life.
Okay, let's get practical. Getting your hands dirty. What does that look like? Before you jump into massive automated tests, there's this crucial step of, well, manual cherry picking. Looking closely at specific examples. Cedric Vidal showed this with Microsoft's VS Code AI toolkit. He seemed to really like it. He demonstrated comparing model outputs side by side. His example was asking for a panna cotta recipe. with salted caramel butter, which sounds amazing, by the way. And he actually found GPT 4.1 was faster and gave a better recipe than GPT 4.0 for that specific query. That kind of hands-on check gives you immediate qualitative feedback.
Yeah, and that same toolkit isn't just for comparing base models. He also showed using it to spot check a complete AI agent he'd built. This agent was designed to pull agenda details from web pages, even following links to get info from multiple pages. Doing that kind of manual spot check first gives you that really valuable gut feeling, that intuition about how your agent handles specific important tasks. It helps you understand what to even look for before you invest in building out the big automated tests. You get the what before the how much.
Okay, so you've done the spot checks, you've got that intuition. How do you scale it up? How do you handle larger projects? That's where automation comes in, right? Cedric Vidal pointed to Azure Foundry and its suite of built-in evaluators. And these aren't just basic checks. They've got AI-assisted ones for things like groundedness, does the answer stick to the source material? Fluency, does it sound natural? Coherence, does it actually make sense? All vital for good conversations. Plus, you get the classic NLP metrics, F1, BLEU, Rouge, great for benchmarking. BLEU and Rouge, for instance, measure how much the generated text overlaps with reference answers. And then there are AI-assisted safety checks too. Plus, you can build your own custom evaluators, which is pretty powerful.
And the flexibility is key there. You can set your own pass-fail thresholds for these scores, often like a 1 to 5 scale, and you can adjust how strict you are depending on the application. A game might have different standards than, say, an app for kids, right? Cedric even shared a funny story about trying to find a violent image for a demo on multimodal models that handle text and images. It was hard to find one appropriate for a conference. It just shows the kind of weird, complex details you get into when setting up these evaluations. And thinking about scale, Dat Ningo at Arize AI mentioned how big teams, like Duolingo, run evaluations at a massive scale. Sometimes 20 different evals for a single interaction.
Right.
They use tools like OpenTelemetry OTel to manage all that complexity, tracking everything across different services in one unified view.
Now, this is interesting. It's not just about using LLMs to judge other LLMs, is it? Dat Ningo made a really important point. If you think eval or LLM as a judge only, there's actually a lot of other tools that you're missing. Sure, LLM as a judge is super great for subjective things, like judging if the context pulled for a RAG system is actually relevant.
Yeah, it's good for nuance.
But it's not always the best tool for every job, or the cheapest. For some things, smaller models like BERT are 10 times cheaper and way faster, maybe 1 or 2 orders of magnitude faster. Why use a sledgehammer to crack a nut, right?
Exactly. And don't forget human input. Dat Ningo called user feedback just simple thumbs up, thumbs down, incredible signal. Real-world validation. And then there are golden data sets. These are examples labeled by humans showing what a perfect answer looks like for a given input. They're absolutely essential for ground truth. You need them to measure against and even to train your LLM judges to match human preferences. Doug Guthrie from Braintrust also stressed how crucial human review is for establishing that ground truth. We also have simpler things, heuristics or just code-based checks. Dat Ningo said these are infinitely cheaper and super fast. Think basic rules. Does the output contain a banned word? Is it valid JSON? Simple stuff, but effective. Doug Guthrie agreed, saying these deterministic checks, when you combine them with the LLM judge's view, give you a really rounded picture of quality.
So, with all these different methods, how do you choose which one is right for you? Muktesh Mishra from Adobe really hit this home. There's no universal eval. It absolutely has to be adaptive. It totally depends on your specific use case. A Q&A app needs accuracy. A code generator needs functional correctness. Does the code actually work?
Right. And for agents, it gets even more complex. You need things like trajectory evaluation.
Yeah.
That means looking at the whole path the agent took, the steps, the tools it called, the decisions it made, not just the final answer. Multi-turn simulations are important there too.
Okay, so evaluation isn't just something you do before you launch. It continues after.
Precisely. Doug Guthrie from Braintrust made a clear distinction. You have offline evals, that's what you do in development, finding problems before they hit users. And then you have online evals, that's the real-time monitoring and tracing you do when your app is live, in production. It's about watching it perform in the wild.
And this creates what Doug Guthrie called a flywheel effect, which I think is a great visual. The logs and data you get from production, from real users, feed back into your offline evals.
Exactly. You use that real-world data to make your test sets better, more realistic.
It connects what users are actually doing back to your development cycle, so your AI keeps improving based on reality. It's a continuous improvement loop.
Yeah, and Doug Guthrie explained how platforms now let you instrument your app to log everything. Inputs, outputs, yeah, but also the intermediate steps the tool calls the agent makes. That gives you incredible visibility into live performance. You can measure quality on actual traffic, set up alerts if things start dipping. You can even run A/B tests live, try out different prompts in production, tag them, and compare their evaluation scores side by side with real users. That's super powerful for optimization.
So the message seems to be, don't wait for perfection. Just start small and iterate. That was Doug Guthrie's advice. Don't get bogged down trying to build the ultimate golden data set from day one.
Right. Get a baseline. Start measuring something.
Yeah.
And then improve. Either improve your evals or improve the AI itself based on what you're seeing. That iterative process is key. And it becomes even more important, maybe even more complex, when you're dealing with AI agents. Det Nango described agent evaluations as way more complex because the interactions are longer, multi-step. You're not just looking at one input-output. You need to figure out, what are the failure modes? Where and why did my agent go wrong along its path? It's diagnostic.
So you need to see the bigger picture, not just individual steps. Arize AI, for instance, has this agent graph view they talked about. It's framework agnostic, which is nice. It basically maps out the different paths your agent takes across lots of interactions.
Yeah, it helps you answer questions like, how often does it call tool X? Or, when it goes path A, the scores are great, but when it takes path B, the scores drop. Why?
That lets you do conditional evals too, right? Like if step 1 fails, maybe don't bother evaluating steps 2 and 3. Saves resources.
It's exactly. Smart evaluation. Datingo also mentioned trajectory evals for agents. This is where you might have a golden path, a predefined ideal sequence of steps or tool calls for a specific task. You could even have an LLM grade how well the agent's actual path matched that ideal trajectory. It's a holistic assessment of the agent's strategy, not just its final result.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening? We've covered a lot, from manual checks with tools like Microsoft's AI toolkit to the big automated systems like Azure AI Foundry, the pipelines from Arize AI, and the end-to-end view from Braintrust. I think the clearest message is that evaluation isn't optional. It's not a checkbox. It really is the core of building AI that you can trust, AI that performs well, and AI that actually delivers value. It's fundamental.
Absolutely. And it's a journey, isn't it? It's continuous. It has to adapt to your needs. And it's this blend of human smarts and automated power. It really comes down to understand that knowledge isn't just having information. It's about applying it effectively. And critical thinking is just, well, it's essential in this age of AI.
Definitely. And maybe we can leave you with this provocative thought, something Det Nango from Arize AI threw out there. He asked basically, do you really think humans are going to be manually evaluating all these AI systems in the future? And then he suggested, it's probably going to be an AI that evaluates future AI. So as these models get way more complex, how does evaluation itself change? Will AI become the ultimate judge of AI? And if it does, well, how do we evaluate that AI judge? That's something to chew on. Thank you so much for diving deep with us today. We really hope this discussion gave you some valuable insights, maybe a clearer path forward for making sure your own AI systems are truly excellent, not just new.